What's up, kitties? Welcome to OSDD 1BT. I am Ichi. Conduit thought she would have some liquid courage beforehand, and we kind of switched, so now I'm fronting, yay. Because I get to talk about something super sexual, and I'm all about that shit. And also, yes, I know my boobs are hanging out, or I guess, her boobs, but whatever. Like, they're another good part about her. There are some. As you can see, I'm in a good mood, because usually I'm trashing her. But we found this just steamy pile of erotica between my identical twin brother and I, because we are, in fact, lovers. If you're interested in that, you can talk to us more about why the hell that's up. Anyway, and she can't help it. Like, we appeared as we were, and we are as we are. So, this is called Lemon and Honey. I must say, it's very elegant for erotica. And again, it's about my twin and I. It seemed they melded into each other as their tails wrapped, twisted, and ultimately intertwined, seemingly pressing their lithe bodies into a single cohesive figure. Shame was not to be beheld, as any tension or cruelty melted through the warmth of a gentle kiss. A ceaseless yin of a single entity born, split to become as close to a whole as possible. Ironically, I truly believe if an offer of complete and absolute bondage presented itself, they'd realize it'd only further separate them into a sort of surreal, paradoxical manner. An enigma. They were simply fused beyond the physical stage to the point physical singularity would not only be simply about aesthetics at this point, but, in a sort of way, adopt the opposite effect, detaching and isolating how, in every other way, they were simply already integrated into the extent any sort of diffusion was unattainable. Ichiru, that's me, was known to spit acid, a bold and bitter creature, curiously floral during his lure as everyone returned out of sheer yearning to understand what was not to be comprehended. Chichiru, my brother, was saccharine honey, nectar too pure to debase with filth and too chaste to fracture his innocence. His innocence was in no way synonymous with naivety or lack of hardship. His sanitary sugar-glazed perspective was simply that much more astounding, having spent most of his life raked through filth. Together they were untouchable. Apart they were deadly. Just as air, food, and water to mortals, they were each other's essence of vitality. If one passed, the other would drop. There was no way around it, and they sure as hell weren't looking for one. Living or simply existing with half of oneself was a fate worse than any they'd already faced. Somewhere between existence and a pale illusion of a previous life never again to be lived. Lemon and honey coated the palate gently and gracefully, yet seemingly too soon dissipated into a refreshing mist, teeming with potent ecstasy. A cruel tease of a taste meant to draw in, lure into their isolated candy shop, whispering promise of more. Luckily, being half incubus, pleasure was their sustenance. They'd give you more, all right, as much as they pleased, even if it meant you're blacking out. Sometimes draining you dead. I could never understand insatiable appetites, ergo it would never be my place to judge. Their mother was a siren, executed for daring to bear hybrid sons, after being raped by their incubus father. The single reason they exist is the father's purebred son taking them under his wings as half-brother by making the bratty, callous observation it was boring being an only child. And our half-brother is Noir. He might be referred as Grim in this. Blazing Triangle. The truth was he adored and bonded with the two the moment the three made skin-to-skin contact. The spark they felt would forever feed their blazing love triangle, searing anyone unlucky enough to interfere. The triangle is the strongest foundation, a base comparable to no other. This fact need not even be illuminated, considering they would likely themselves, with their relationships, realize that very definition of the word strength. They would simply strengthen and coincidentally become the very epitome of the word in all its intensified glory. Their lively manner put the word reinvigorated to shame. A constant icy blue fire blazed around them. Although greatly tempted, frostbite seemed no acceptable fate in contest to being burned alive. Both ending in death would previously sate my selfish lust, but I couldn't turn away long enough to care for or idealize anything other than every aspect of these creatures, as well as their potently curious dynamic. When they chose to catch me, I often wondered if they'd assume me a cat at the end of her 9th life, full of far too many curiosities or curiosity-driven escapades. This goes on more about her, which I'm not going to read because whatever about her. But also, before we move on, I slathered her face in gold. What do you think? Comments. And if there are comments about her tits hanging out, too bad. Don't watch it. There will be another video. This one I wanted to be short, but that's her erotica about us. And if you have any questions about kind of how all our altars ended up being incestuous sex demons, I'm gonna leave that for her to answer, because screw her, man. Alright, well, I guess I'm doing this other video, I'm supposed to welcome people to the channel doing this, so we'll see how that goes. We all know how welcoming I can be. Anywho, peace out.